Gavin Newsom's retarded, and not even a little bit, a lot. Gavin Newsom is proposing a national billionaires tax and a new social contract, whatever that means. By the way, this is after he realized that the one-time billionaires tax that California was proposing wasn't going to work because all it did was drive out $1 trillion out of the state. It was also never going to be one time, and it would not stop with the billionaires because all it would do was allow the government to spend more money, and they never cut back their spending. The government never says, oh, let's get leaner. Let's cut back spending too much. No. So when the billionaires are all gone and their money's gone, they're going to have to generate the income elsewhere because, again, the government doesn't just stop spending money when they create all these programs, which means that they'd pull it from the 100 millionaires and then the tens of millionaires and then the millionaires. And when you have the freedom to leave, you leave. So if you have money, you leave because the people that make the money understand that the government doesn't spend the money well. The government does not have an income problem. They have a spending and fraud problem. So Gavin Newsom's like, my dumbass policies don't work at the state level. Let's try them at the national level. Fucking idiot. So he posts this video to X.
It's time for a national billionaires tax and a new social contract. Think about this, just 10% of people, 10% of people in this country own 2/3 of the wealth. A 30-year-old, for the first time in American history, is not doing better than his or her parents. That's a 5-alarm fire. American wages have stood still, and the costs across the spectrum, cost of living, have skyrocketed. The system is fundamentally broken.
The system's fundamentally broken, like the type of system that allows for him to have just bought an $11 million home, for him to be a Nepo baby, to have only ever been a government leech and contribute absolutely nothing productive to society. You mean the system's broken for him and his wife to funnel millions of taxpayer dollars through foundations, charities? For him and Karen Bass to get rich, to put taxpayer funds towards Democratic NGOs, that type of system. Why did he buy an $11 million house and then protect his house to make sure that it didn't burn down in the fires? His house wasn't going. I digress. I just hate it. Ugh.
In the federal tax code, the corporate tax code, and the inheritance tax code seem to be written for a different set of Americans. It's time for an economic reset, a true minimum tax on billionaires that, well, ensures the people at the very top pay at least the tax rate.
The call is coming from inside the house.
We also should end this tax-free lifestyle loan. This is the gimmick that allows the ultra-wealthy to borrow against their stock portfolios while reporting no taxable income. We also have to rewrite those inheritance rules so that the largest intergenerational wealth transfer in human history, estimated by, well, be $124 trillion that will be changing hands, doesn't lock in a permanent American aristocracy of inherited wealth.
Look in the mirror, buddy.
Time as well to return to the pre-2017 corporate tax rates, and time to close those offshore loopholes once and for all. And as AI reshapes the country,
what the fuck does this guy know about AI? He doesn't even know anything about basic economics. Get out of here.
Every American should own a piece of the future it builds through a national public equity fund.
Public equity fund, yeah, because the public manages money. The government manages money better than the private sector. Said no one ever, except for idiots.
Trickle-down economics, it's been a, well, nearly 50-year experiment that has failed.
Calling America calling our tax system a 50-year experiment that's failed is insane. We have one of the most progressive tax systems in the world. We have one of the strongest economies in the world. Calling it a failure is so out of touch with reality. It's
record
bonkers.
Corporate profits flowed into stock buybacks and executive compensation. It's time to stop pretending otherwise. We're nearing the 250th anniversary of this country's revolution. The system the American founders built, well, was designed to prevent the concentration of power in a few hands. But we've allowed that concentration to happen anyway, slowly and in plain sight over the course of decades and decades.
I am calm, cool, and collected. Prevent the concentration of power in a few hands. That's exactly what democratic socialism is and calling for, by the way, is taking the power from the private citizen and putting it into the hands of a small, few, elite people in the government. That's like what he's calling for. Demonize. Don't look at me. Don't look at me who doesn't contribute to the society. Go look at the people that are productive. Demonize them instead. He's pointing the finger elsewhere so that people don't look at him for being a redistribution leech off the taxpayer. And calling America a failure is crazy.
But we can reverse it. We can reverse it.
It's gonna make me crazy.
It's time to democratize the American economy to save our democracy.
So the democracy doesn't work, so we have to reinvent it to save it? What a fucking idiot. Okay, first things first. Big picture, we have to look at what he's saying and why he's saying it, which is he's making the argument that we have an income tax problem in our country. Demonize the billionaires. Demonize the people that are productive members of society, that are making money, creating jobs, stimulating the economy. He's saying the government needs to take it. He is actually saying the government needs to seize it, because what he's proposing is a wealth tax, not an income tax. And he's disguising it as saying, oh, well, the billionaires just aren't paying their fair share. This is a confiscation of private property. He's saying the government's not collecting enough tax revenue to function, which is totally false, totally false, totally false, totally false. The government is spending $2 trillion more that it's bringing in because the morons in the government are fiscally irresponsible. See the out of control fraud in California, an estimated $76 billion under just Newsom. Fix that first. So the government, they have no incentive to fix it because he just makes money off the taxpayer, enough to buy an $11 million home. So he's just proposing we make the swamp fatter and happier and richer so that more corrupt individuals in the government get richer off the taxpayer. They have created the $39 trillion in debt, the government. The government wants to spend more money and take more money. They're not going to fix the debt. And all the taxes aren't going to pay down the deficit. They aren't going to do good for America or Americans. They're going to fund NGOs and nonprofits that do nothing but enrich the people supporting the Democratic Party, which is what the Democrats did prove in fact to see Doge. All the Medicare, Medicaid fraud that's been going on, all that stuff we saw in Minnesota, the estimated $76 billion of fraud in California, Illinois, what's going on in New York, Massachusetts. The fraud's out of control in these heavily run Democratic states that don't do any checks and balances on the handouts that they're giving, which the US taxpayer is paying for. Fix the fraud. Fix the spending. Do not tax people more. The top 1% pays about 44% of the income tax in this country. The top 50% pays 99% of all income tax in the US. We have one of the most progressive tax systems in the world. So that means that the people who make the most pay the most by far. They pay a much higher percent than other countries. And we are one of the wealthiest countries, the wealthiest country in the world. It is the greatest time to be alive. We have one of the best, if not the best, economy in the world. And if you're not taking advantage of it and you're complaining, go live in another country and see what it's like. Because America gives you more opportunity than any other country to be successful. And the opportunities are equal. The outcomes are not equal, but the opportunities are equal. Celebrate people for making lots of money, because you know what? They employ thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. And their employees are paying taxes. The businesses are paying taxes. The people who invested in those businesses are paying taxes. And they're reinvesting their money back into America. That's the greatest thing in the world. And then the next point, saying you're going to tax somebody's personal wealth, is not the same as taxing income. Taxing income is the income that gets recorded and reported. Taxing somebody's personal wealth based on some arbitrary value at a point in time is crazy. Crazy. It's insane. Because who's going to determine what that value is? And then taking that wealth is confiscating money that they've already paid tax on. They've already earned it. Or if it's stock in a company. And when they sell the stock in that business, what happens to the stock value? It'll decline. And if you have all these billionaires having to liquefy assets, real estate prices will go down at the high end and you'll have stock prices go down significantly. And that will hurt thousands, millions of Americans financially. This is a stupid idea. This is a stupid idea. We have a spending problem with the government and any first grader knows it. Gavin Newsom, I think he knows it, but he just says, don't look at me. Don't look at the people that are getting rich off your dollars. Let's go demonize the other ones, the productive members of society. By saying, yeah, we'll do a national billionaires tax. No. It's important for people to understand he's calling for a wealth tax, not an income tax. And that means they're taking personal property that they've already followed the tax system on. How much of your money am I entitled to? Is the government entitled to? Are NGOs entitled to? Is Gavin Newsom entitled to? Is his wife's foundation entitled to? Because that's where the money's going. He's really so retarded, it pisses me off. I resent the fact I understand this better than he does. It's infuriating. He is a redistribution leech who leeches off the people and has enriched himself, leeching off the taxpayer and then pointing the finger and demonizing the productive members of society. And that's wrong. That's wrong. While pushing for democratic socialism, which is taking the power from the private citizen, taking away the opportunity from everyone and just giving it to the elite in the government. That's where that leads. Don't follow. Don't vote for it. Stupid. It's stupid, 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 stupid. Could not be more stupid.